Today we're turning this arid, rocky desert into a bold piece of industrial engineering, producing steel-free heavy modular frames that will eventually be sent to storage, and also the space elevator part production. But before we do any of that, we do need to set up a train line. And thankfully in our last episode, we built up Paradise Island, turning it from nature's bliss to the start of an industrial oil facility. But the great thing about this is we've already started with the train line all the way over to the Golden Coast over there, which means thankfully with our handy blueprints in hand, we can actually set this up pretty quickly. We just need to find which one that'll do. We're going to send this all the way across to the end there and over into our starting spot for the facility. And whilst I'm here to collect some resources for the build, we're going to need a load of steel, you see. I thought we'd quickly check on our hard drives because I'm hoping that with some of the new recipes, we'll be able to make steelless encased industrial beams. And for that, we're going to need this recipe here. Fantastic. Thought we had that unlocked. So we're going to be using the iron pipe alternative recipe. So we'll be able to take the iron from around us to produce these steel pipes. And then we're also going to use the encased industrial pipe variant so that we can partner that with the heavy modular frame to produce pretty efficient heavy modular frames without the need for screws, because no one likes screws. Screws aren't our friend. Anyway, I'm going to grab some more resources and then we can get started on this. One thing that would actually be nice is maybe, do we have, yeah, we have wet concrete unlocked because we're going to need some concrete and I'm not sure how much limestone we've got nearby. So I'm going to get some more resources and from there we can head back. We're now in the rocky desert and I think this is where we're going to be building this, because we have a load of iron around here. There is some concrete, or limestone I should say, just down there. There's two of them actually. So hopefully that'll be enough. But we only need that and iron. Or do we need copper? I can't remember. I think we only need that and iron. So we should be able to just build the facility here. And my next thought was to have it so that this is also a roundabout for the facility, like a massive one. I really like the idea of, you can see I've started over there, having the factory in the center and the trains being able to go around the outside. I just need to make sure that these can join, otherwise it's not going to work. The other thing that we need to bear in mind is that we're going to have to bring resources from other areas as well eventually. So we're going to have to make it so that we can run lines into this area, and that it's not just specifically for the factory. So it would be good to have some off ramps and on ramps to this area. Anyway, I am going to finish designing this rail section, and then once that's done we can hopefully start planning how this build is going to look. I hope we have enough room here. It'd be really awkward if I'm just like a few inches out. I need to work out whether I can blow that up with Noblisk, because if I can't, that would be really awkward. But if we can, I think we'll be able to just squeeze ever so slightly past it. Actually, thinking about it, we may... Oh, the joys! Perfect. So, I can actually test this now. Balls. Okay, in that case, we're going to push all of this back. That will take me a few minutes. So I will show you once this is Done. Well, that should be enough space for the factory. The next thing that I want to do is place a train station, which is going to be where these foundations are. It shouldn't be too difficult, is my thought, to have the train station somewhere around this point. I have to push it out a bit more. And from, let me just place that there for now. From here, we will have the train heading back onto the track, probably around this point. Yeah, that should be doable. And we'll also take the train off from probably around here. We are going to need to pick up heavy modular frames and probably the modular frames as well, thinking about it. So we'll start building this out, and then the other thing that I need to get started on is, well, work out how many resources we're going to produce, and from there, how many of these nodes we need to tap. It would actually be really nice if we could tap all of them, which shouldn't be too difficult because these are all impure. Oh no, they're not. Take that back. They're all normal. Leave that with me, and we'll be right back. And here we are with the train station done. It wasn't difficult at all, thankfully, and we've placed, you can see a bit of Z fighting. That's from the foundations that we've placed inside the train station. I'm hoping we can resolve that because it looks a little off-putting, but it is fine once you're down here. We only have one freight station at the moment. If we want to add another one for the modular frames later on, then we can do. I'm not too concerned about that. So the next thing, we need to plan this out. So I've done a little bit of planning, and it looks like with the amount of iron that we have in the location, we have, I think it's 600 because they're all normal nodes actually, iron available. But if we overclock them all to about double, let's say, so that we're producing 1,200 iron ore, we'll be able to, using the recipes, produce a total of 5.625 heavy modular frames per minute, as well as the 9 modular frames on top of that. So it looks like this is the perfect setup for us, and we are using 200 odd limestone and a little bit of water from the coast to produce the wet concrete that we're going to need. And that so far means we're going to have to be setting up all of our iron lines. So this is the first 3 setup. I've also started work on placing the other 3 miners. We're going to somehow bring the iron along. I think it'd be really nice if we could get the iron through this section here and then make its way over to here. So we might have to double this up, and we will then take all of this up to here. And the iron will go across here to the manufacturing setup. We'll do some of the low tier stuff like the iron plates and the iron wire on the lower floor. But we'll have to get the stuff over there first. Let's go with a 2. Yeah, don't know if that'll be high enough. Cutting it fine. Maybe we'll go with a 1 meter. See, that doesn't look quite so good though. Anyway, we're going to bring all of this across. Oh, I'm going to have to nudge that across. Anyway, you get the point. The next thing for me to do is that we will hopefully, on the lower section, build the walls around the, or within the oval. So these are going to have to go all the way around so it all looks nice, clean and even. And then we're going to have our actual facility, which will run in line with this. We'll run this all the way across. So everything's going to blend into this grid. Does mean I have to get rid of all of these. And my hope, and this is a big hope, would be to have some kind of way to bring vehicles up to collect the resources from in here using this little ramp here, and then the output being this ramp here. Don't know if it's going to work, but that's something we're going to try and do. Anyway, I'm going to get on with setting up the foundation so that we can start building the factory. With the foundations placed, we can now start working on the facility, but for that we are going to have to get all the resources across to it. I've started to set up the refineries for the wet concrete. That's going to send all of the concrete along this line, along with all of these, to the facility, and we're going to have that split off underneath. But the next thing that I need to do is finish the rest of the bus here. The biggest issue though is going to be getting all the resources that we need, or all the power shards at least, to set these up. So we have to have, what, 12? And at the moment we have 11, but we do have a load of power slugs, so we can set it up. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's go with this. We place this section first and then use the straight mode in reverse. It should look a little better. Maybe not. That's better. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Let's bring these. If we nudge, we can bring them close. There we go. That looks a bit better. That'll do. We're going to run these all the way across. We've got our stackable conveyor poles just at the end. So if we take these all the way to the end for now, we can then add them to that. Hopefully it'll look quite clean. I think probably better to go to the default mode for this section. Yeah, that looks quite clean. We'll bring these up to the floor above. And then the next thing that I want to do once we've brought these to their stacks would be to frame this. So we could just do something like that, and then go there and then across. Yeah, I think that'll look clean. The next job for us is to set up a smelter blueprint, and we're going to want about, I think we're going to want to do 20. That's what I'm aiming for at the moment with these smelters. So we have 5 on either side. That's 10 per floor, and we're going to repeat that up there as well. We'll also add some orange smeltery lights. So put one there, and then we're going to have an orange atmosphere glow to it. From here, let's grab our beams, and we're going to use these just to border this, so it looks intentional. Not just like we've added a light or a sign on just for the sake of it. And we will also sort out the outputs. So we want these to be probably, how much? 5 is 150, so 300 on each floor, which means we're going to have at least mark 4 belts along the merging line. Might as well use them while we've got them. I'm going to do this on the other side, and then once this is set up, I'll show you the design. Oh, before we jump ahead, I thought I should also mention I've done a load balancer here. So the plan is to have 200 from each of these miners. So for every 2 miners that we have, that's 400 being balanced on a single belt. So we've got 1,200 iron ore that will be coming through here and balanced out to go to the smeltery, hence why we're building that. And then we'll sort out in fact the smelter will be placed somewhere around here anyway, but then we'll have the rest of the lower tier resources on the bottom floor if we can make that work. Right, back to this. The smelter setup is done, so this is the finished blueprint for now. If I just grab that, you can see really simple. We've just added the power points across the top, and it's the same as it was before, to be honest, just with that sorted. So we've got the beams on the outside to make it look a little bit more industrial, and that's also why we've gone with this reddy orange color as well. I just really like it, hence why we're using it for everything in this build. And the next thing is to get this all up to speed, because everything's turning on and off because we don't have enough iron at the moment. And you can see we're making sure that this is all running before we move on to the next part of the factory, just so that we know it's all running smoothly and we don't have any nasty surprises. So the next thing that we need to do now that it's started running is just to overclock all of these. We want it to be set to 200, which is, we can just do it here. It's going to be like a 266. There we go. We're just going to copy that, and now we can go to these and press paste. I haven't actually checked my power. We should be fine. We might need to upgrade the power at the end of this. Let's just quickly check. Nah. Well, this turning on and off, this is because we're just burning excess fuel, remember. So we don't really want to concern ourselves with that. But we're only consuming 4,500 at the moment. We've got a fair amount of capacity, so we should be good for the next couple of builds. Maybe up until we send off the next space elevator stuff, if we're lucky. All of these are now set up. This needs to have the recipe selected. Can't actually remember how much. Limestone, 120. So we'd only need one. I need to check my maths in a minute and make sure I need to overclock this as well. But we will worry about that shortly. Next, let's look at the rest of the lower facility. Well, to be fair, I need to make sure that's running first. I can see that this set of smelters is starting to turn on now. So what's happening is all of the excess from the 200 iron that's being sent to each line is being overflown up to here and then sent to the final smeltery there. So now we can get started with the constructors. So the first one is going to be, where do we stick it? Maybe here. This is going to be for the iron plates. So we'll sort that out really quickly. And then we're going to want the iron wire along here, I think. Do it halfway across. And we'll do this on the other side as well. I think we're going to have to run the resources along here. Ooh, what can we do with that? Maybe if we place a half foundation here, that'll cover it up. The idea is that this will be the truck port area where we'll have vehicles come in, I guess. I do want to use vehicles, but I've always kind of shied away from using them. But we will block this all off. So probably do something here. And then above this is where the actual factory is going to go for the modular frames and everything else. Which does mean we're going to have to send all the wire across to here from both sides. And to help with power, I think our best bet is going to be... Wait, hey, mate, I'm working. I feel like they're always supervising my work. Ah! He's like, as you are, son. Walk it off. We'll also add another set of these behind. Like so. And the power, I guess we could do it along here. Be to run it on that side, and then we'll do another one in a moment. I'll remove this and push this back. But we'll connect all of our power to little, I don't know what to call them, power nubs, nipples, along here. Anyway, I'm going to finish all of these low-level items. Then once it's all running, I'll get started on the next floor. The iron plates and the iron wire are all done now, which is fantastic. The next thing that I need to do is send the resources up to the next floor, and then we'll talk about the most important recipe of all. So what we're doing with these, I'm going to try and hug the side of this quite tightly. This is going to be for the stitched iron plates. Then we're also going to bring in our iron plates for these stitched iron plates as well. So we'll just run them both up to the same section. And then from here, all goes to plan, we can take these up, and this is where we will run the reinforced iron plates. At least that is my plan for the time being. So with that out the way, we are now going to get started on iron. Iron pipes. Goodness me, I almost forgot about it then. We're going to want to place the constructors really close. I want to have the splitter hugging the wall. Maybe not that close. So we'll just go from there, and we will place the constructor just in front. And we're going to need, it's 8 of these. These are obviously going to be feeding the heavy modular frame facility, and because the iron pipes require, the iron pipes require 100 iron ingots per minute, we are going to have to make sure that we're using at least the Mark II bound. I prefer Mark III because I have my access to them. And we're going to want a little bit of space so that we can send more iron into this line later on. 480 is the Mark IV belt, so that would be 4.8. So we'll have 4 plus 4 should work. And then with all of these, we'll send the excess iron across to the next segment, but we'll also add merger, but it'll probably be from up there. So we'll worry about that in a moment. And the other thing that I want to do is on the other side, we're going to want to take the iron pipes slightly further above us, because we don't have too much space below. And then eventually we'll run these around to the manufacturers. How many are we going to have? 25. 25 times 8. How much is that? That's 200. What am I doing? Yeah, 200. I'm so confused then. So we'll have these, and then above this actually will be the next floor. In fact, I should probably start laying that as well so you can see what we're going to do with it. We bring this across. This will be for the iron rods. And we're going to need about, I think it's 10. Yeah, I think it's 10 constructors here producing those iron rods. So we'll place them, and let's have it so it's quite tight as well. Yeah, that works. And from here we can run these all the way across. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Nice. Okay, I'm liking this. The next thing that we need to do is some kind of floor here. And this will be where we have our reinforced iron plates. And then, what we could do opposite is have our modular frames being produced. Need to just make sure that we have enough space for that. What did it say on the tools? So on the site, we're going to need 12 assemblers. Oh, wait, but we have 6.4 stitched iron plates. So we can do, what if we do 6 assemblers for these stitched iron plates on this side, and then we'll overclock one by 40%. And then on the opposite side, we will do 6 assemblers and then double the overclock. So they're running at 200%. That would look awesome if I can get it all to fit in here. As reference, we'd do 3 here, and then we'd have maybe a foundation apart. Okay, well, I know what I'm going to be working on now. So I'll get ahead of this, and we're going to want some kind of way to like compartmentalize all of this. Kind of like the idea of make this a little gangway, and then we can go around the outside. Cool. Right, I'll work on this and show you when we've got the, I guess, modular frames running. We're now producing the modular frames, and it's ready for us to send off to become heavy modular frames. At this point, we do need to do a couple of things though. We need to send the steel up and also the concrete so that we can produce the encased industrial beams. And then the encased industrial beams, which we'll probably do over this little section here will combine with the modular frames, the excess steel pipes that we have, and something else which I've forgotten to create the heavy modular frames directly below me. But before we go ahead, I did want to just quickly show you something that I've done downstairs, which I think is pretty fine. Unfortunately, I haven't worked out how to go between the top floor and the bottom floor yet. We've just been using the jetpack. But down here, we've compartmentalized everything using the new fences and added the lights below. And I love this. I just think it's so clean. Anyway, we're now going... Every time! Oh, okay. Anyway, we're now going to get started with sending the spare steel from here across to the encased industrial beam or pipe even setup, which is going to be here. Let's quickly lay these out. Okay, we'll leave one foundation here so that we can add to the walls. And then we grab these. We're going to want... How many is it? Is it 6? Just going back to my notes really quickly. 6... no. Modular frames, steel pipe... okay, over here. 5. So 4.688. So we can do 5 and underclock one of them. And then we're probably going to keep this section free as a walkway. And we will bring the resources up here. So one will be for the steel pipes and the other for the concrete. And then we're going to bring it across from the other side. So I'm going to have to do some kind of balancer for this. Make sure it's the fastest speed we've got. I like the idea of sending the resources down. Maybe not there. I like the idea of sending resources and seeing them just running across the top of a ceiling. We're going to need 112.5. So how would that be? We'd want to split 100, 100, 12.5, 50, 50, 25, 25, 12.5, 12.5. Okay. That makes sense. In my mind, it does at least. So we're going to need to send 100 resources straight on, and we're going to need a merger as well. And this merger is also going to have the 12.5 sent to it. So, wait a second. If we do a line of mergers, we're going to want... Ah! My mind! I understand what I'm doing. I just can't seem to think how to do this. We need to split it off. Is it 3 times? I'm going to skip ahead, but I will show you this. Is there anything else that we can... Yeah, okay. I will do this, and then I will show you what we've done, because it's going to take me too long to work this out in my head. Even though it's really simple, it's a long day. I know this looks much more complicated than it need be, but trust me, it works. Or at least it will do once it's switched on. So what we've done here, rather than splitting 112.5 off, I went down the route of splitting the 67.5 off in one direction. So from here, we have all of our 200 pipes, and then we've got a Mark IV here. This is set to overflow, although we could have just done it with a normal splitter. And then we have a Mark I here. So with throttling this through line to 60 per minute, and that means that when we split between these two, we have 30 going off there, 30 here, 15 there, 15 there, 7.5 here, 7.5 here. So the 7.5 will run along here, as well as 60 from this line, which is gonna hold, I don't know, 100 and however many. So we have 67.5 steel pipes along here, or iron pipes. Ooh. And then that will go over to this manufacturer that I've just placed. And it's set to 200% clock speed so that we have the 67.5 per minute. We then have the modular frames, which are going to come to here. We'll probably add some kind of smart splitter or just a splitter and overflow the rest to the storage. And then we need the encased industrial beams, which will run across to here. And the last one, which is concrete, which I haven't actually counted for just yet. So what we will probably do with the concrete is overflow it from this line so that it goes straight to the end. And that should, fingers crossed, run. So now I just need to connect everything together and hopefully turn this on. We can run that there and we'll have some kind of... I'll do the splitter in a minute once this is all running. Okay, before we sort out the heavy modular frames, I've just deleted the manufacturer because I thought, you know what, it would be better to split the resources right here at the edge and send them off to the train and then send the rest around here. And with the concrete, I was just waiting for it to split half off to the manufacturer. Instead, what I'm going to do is wait for this to fully saturate up, and then we will send the excess all the way to the manufacturer. So actually, let's first bring all these up to this point, and then we can have the manufacturer facing this. There we go, I think that's about right. This will then run directly into there. And we're just going to use the straight mode to make this nice and easy for us. The only problem, of course, is that we are going to have to wait for this to set up and have the concrete in order to run. Oh, you know what? It would be really nice if we could have some depots here so that we have early access to the modular frames before we send them back. Regardless, let's just get this up, and if I do that, I'm going to need a splitter. So let's just prep that for now. And then we can run this all the way along to here. And then we need to consider how we're getting these down to this area here. And at this point, I think we need to start looking at the walls. So for this, I don't really need to worry about the design just yet. But what I do want to do, I do want to use the wall for the train track as the wall for the facility, like we've done with the foundations below, which means I'm going to have to start building up all the way around the facility. Then we're going to have to add these foundations in. I've got a bad feeling that the curves aren't going to work. Anyway, we'll try with decorating first and foremost and see how we get on. And with the resources, it would be really nice, maybe not here, maybe using some kind of conveyor hole. If we could send the resources across, actually that would be really nice. Send the resources across to, say, maybe even, yeah, here. We could drop them off inside the train station and then have an awesome sink maybe over here. And then maybe, thinking about it, we could turn this section into the entrance. Okay, I'm going to get started on that, and I will show you the finished design. Well, maybe not the finished design. We've got a lot to go through yet. So I've started with doing the skeleton of the outer build, and I'm just hoping we have quite a few elements like this, which I don't really want to have. So I'm just hoping that we can work with this. But we are going to have glass, where are we? Glass frames all the way along, because I think being able to see the trains going past would look amazing from the inside, providing, of course, we have a way to get down there, which I haven't thought of yet. And if we just stick with the two high foundation glass walls, then above that we can have the single. Yeah, we can go with that. Maybe we just bring these all the way to the. That's not going to work. That's not gonna work. I'm gonna pretend that's not clipping at all. So from here, we'll just go all the way back using the same 1 meter wall. And then I've also been working on the inside section as well. I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself with that, because we've already started with the lighting there. I'll run around too. Once we do this. Okay. Yeah, I think that's really nice, actually. As for the truck stop area, I don't know if we're even going to use it because I've just prepped the line for the trains. But I like the idea of being able to bring the vehicles up here. Maybe it's just a, like, fuel stop for us. But I've added just a little bit of detail with the stairwells and the beams and the lights above, so that we can pull up our vehicles should we wish at a later point. But the factory is running now. I could actually do with maybe hooking these up to an awesome sink, just so that this keeps running. But I'm going to work on the rest of the outside, and once I'm happy with that, we'll go over it. I really want this factory to look quite punchy from the outside. So what we're going to do is really try and make it look quite bold. And my first thought is to play around with the color and obviously the lighting. That's what we do in all our builds. But I'm going to run the walls along here, and we'll do it in a set of 3, like so. And then from here, we'll put that on the outside. We will add the windows in the center section. And I want this to be a couple high. I think 3 high would look even better. That's nice. And then we'll also do the same on this section here. Bring that up. And we'll do a glass wall, I think, either side here. I just need to blend it all nicely in. It'd be nice if we could play around with contrast as well. If we made this kind of a darker... No, that's not dark enough. That looks nice. The other option would be the carbon finish, but I don't want to use that too much. I think that charcoal color against the red looks really nice though. We're going to do, I think, the same here in this spot so that we see the window again. And underneath, I've been doing the orange wall like this. I think we'll do the same there as well. Although, we could play around with some signage. This is my problem. As soon as we start decorating, I get sidetracked. I was actually working on the walkway across from the train station a moment ago, and then started working on this. We go with the smelter lights. That might be a bit too bright. I think that's quite nice. We could maybe sandwich this, do the bottom as well. This is going to require a lot of quartz. Could do with upping my quartz game. I'm kind of dreading doing the really big factories later on, if this is what we're starting with. Ooh, oh, I love that. Okay, I will do that over here as well on the underside. We could do it here as well. So let's grab ourselves the wall. We're gonna nudge this halfway in, and we'll do the same here. And before I get too distracted, let's also show off this. So this is just the frame foundation pieces all the way across and then down to here. And like I mentioned with the awesome sink, we're going to be sending any excess that doesn't go to storage once we've got that up and running. Spoiler for the next video, will be sent to the awesome sink. So really simple. And on top of this, we have our flat roofs. And I think we will add a walkway across to here from that point once done. But we have a lot to get on with, so I'm going to, I think we'll just do the rest of the outside now, and then we can have a little look at it after. All right, it has taken me so long, but we are finally there. We have now finished it. It is running except for the train to storage, because obviously we haven't done it yet. But as you can see, I kind of missed out a bit of detail on the top and ended up just going with like a glass roof and just trying to frame it so it looked quite nice and have a lot of natural light in. But I didn't go too heavy on the detail there. However, the sides are a different story. On top of the bits of like the inlets with the lighting that you've already seen, I also added pillars all the way around as the walls for the back side of this facility. And I'm really happy with the different contrast between the blocky colors on this side and then the other side, which is mainly mainly glass balls. And despite playing with the different materials a bit, we have gone with more glass on this side as well. So just above here, I really played around with the angles and then having the glass showing the the top floor of the factory. And then on the inside there, that are just painted black signs. I'll show you. It's really simple to do if you hadn't realized. You can just grab a sign, color it all black like we did with the colors, and then we turn the emission strength down to 1. You can turn this off, but the important thing is the glossiness, and looks really nice, personally. I like the kind of mirrored look to it. In the end, I did add the walkway up to the entrance, and then as you can see, we've added a load of lighting to the inner section, and we've used the the coated floors as well. But this just marks the gangways, and then over here on the left, you can see we can have a look at what's going on down below, or even walk across here and then down in the smelter section to get to the ground floor. But I'm really happy with how all of this turned out in the end. I think the lower section could do with a little bit more love, if I'm honest. But I don't know what to put here. I'm out of ideas. Perhaps we'll do something with it at a later date. But yeah, awesome little build. The important thing now is that we get prepped for the central storage, which we'll be doing in the next episode. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. But until next time, special thanks goes to all of our amazing supporters on Patreon, most notably our Lunar Eclipse patrons, Fireflest, The Calamity, Ben, Star, and Seeker Kala, as well as our Blood Moon of the day, which today is King Zoron. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.